here. I can tell you're thrilled to be here. Give me a thumbs up if you're thrilled to be here. Yes, I taught kindergarten, you can tell. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Betsy Ruiz, and I am an NC career coach here at McDowell Tech. And Emily Crowder is another NC career coach. She's an advisor for some of you. I'm an advisor for some of you. And then Miss Duncan, way in the back, works with our homeschool, private school, Neva Crossing, New Manna, homeschool those students as well. So welcome, welcome. We are thrilled to have you here. This is the first lady going up the ramp is Dr. Penny Cross. She is Vice President for Learning and Student Services. Thank you. And then Dr. Beverly Watts is Dean of Student Success?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Good morning.
And then Dr. Brian Merritt is our president for, I wouldn't say our new president, but you've been here.
8 months, so I'm still pretty new. I'll take it, I'm still pretty new.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming. So that's kind of the introductions. We had originally talked about doing tours. After this, I know from a lot of you parents we're taking off work and doing things, so I want to invite you. We are not going to do tours. If you want one, I'll be glad to take you around when this is over. Otherwise, there is a new student orientation that we do for adult students, those that are not still in high school. That is on the 12th?
Correct.
The 12th at
10 and then also at 4:30.
So they are going to be doing an orientation, telling you everything that we're going to be going through. It's a long process. At 11:30 is when they're going to start the tours. For that, no?
And if they want to join the tours, they need to be here at the 10 o'clock or the 4:30.
Oh, so you changed again. Okay. So on the 12th, that is when there'll be tours, going to the different departments, meeting the faculty, those type of things. You are more than welcome to stay today. Like I said, I'll be glad to give you a tour, help you find things.
And I'll be glad to give a tour if you'd like as well.
We'll have campus maps available on the tables when you leave. If you want to wander yourself, that shows where the different buildings are. So however you all want to work it. I know daytime is harder for parents. Well, and a lot of you work. So thank you for coming. Dr. Watts, will you go ahead and speak to what our current COVID policy is here at McDowell Tech's campus, please?
Sure, I'll be happy to. So this was just put onto our website and determined just this week, and we are essentially following something similar to what the public school has already decided upon. And so this is what we have decided, is that masks are welcomed and encouraged, but not required. Social distancing is encouraged, but not required. We encourage hand washing and hand sanitizers, and you will actually find those throughout campus. They are available for you. Please continue. Just know that we will continue as instructors to clean rooms in between each of the classes. So as you leave, even though you may have a class that's supposed to start, let's say within about 5 minutes, you're going to be asked to stay out in the hall until that room gets cleaned. Okay, so just know that. So just be patient with us as we make sure that we do our cleaning. Okay, if you as a student, if it turns out that you are positive for COVID, please contact your instructor and let them know that. Okay, just please let them know. If by chance you are exposed to a COVID positive person, please do the following: quarantine for 5 days. Then after the 5 days, you have a COVID test. That can be on the 5th day or a few days after. If the test result is negative, guess what? You can return back to school. If the test is positive, however, you will need to stay in quarantine for 10 days. Is that from the positive test date? Is that correct? Okay. So then you may return to school after the 10 days if you are without a fever and symptoms are free after 24 hours. Again, if you're sick, please do not come. Please make sure that you reach out to your instructor and let them know that you're sick and why you're out, okay? Because we're trying to minimize any chance of people being sick around campus or anywhere. So please, if you're sick, do not come, but please stay in contact with your instructor, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. The very first thing I want to talk to you about that I want to emphasize very, very strongly, first and foremost, is safety. That is the most important thing to me as a mommy and as a kindergarten teacher. I said they may not learn anything this year, but I promise you they will be loved and they will be safe. I want you to understand this is not like McDowell High School. This is an open campus. We do not have a guard gate. We do not have resource officers here. We do have security officers on campus all the time while there are students here. They are all retired law enforcement officers that are cruising the campus all of the time. We are right next to a major interstate that goes from coast to coast. We got major truck stop. There's a prison right here. There's businesses. There's railroad tracks. There's a highway. Please be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Do not be in areas where you're not supposed to be when you're not supposed to be there. Okay? Safety is the big, big thing. We don't have babysitters here. As a mommy thing, we don't have that, okay? So please understand, if you ever, I call it the funny tummy feeling, if you ever feel like something's not right or whatever, please find a security officer or find someone that works here that has a badge. We're identified by our badges. Find someone that has a badge and they can call security and they can help you out, okay? Registration statements. Let me go ahead and talk to you. Hopefully when you checked in, you got a registration statement. Some of you may not have. Some of you may have just turned paperwork in. Some of you may have issues with scheduling. Some of you have not been registered yet, okay? So if you did not, if you think you should have, but you didn't get a registration statement, if you will please, I have a sheet for you to sign. If you will please put your name. At the end, we're gonna have some things out on the table. If you will please make sure, put your name on there and which school you go to, and then we'll investigate and we'll see what we need to do for you, okay, to get you that. Don't know if you're sitting, if you didn't, if you can look over somebody's shoulder, socially distancing, I don't know how that works, but anyway. Real important registration statements. Here's how you're gonna read it. You're gonna see your name and address up in the upper left-hand corner. Please check that very carefully. Make sure that your name and address are correct. If your address has changed over the summer, even if your phone number has changed over the summer, if any information has changed over the summer from when you filled out your paperwork, registration paperwork with your advisor, please raise your hand. Okay, Ms. Crowder, would you, and if you think of it later and go, oh yeah, that's right, well, we kind of whatever. We'll have some more of these. These are forms that you'll fill out with your new information. We'll take them to Student Services so we can update our records, okay? If you think of it in a bit. Right above your name and address, you will see a number, probably starts with a 0. Right above your name, that is your student ID number for McDowell Tech. McDowell County Schools numbers mean nothing once you leave McDowell County Schools. Okay? That is your identification with McDowell Tech. That is a very, very, very important number for you to remember, for you to keep track of. Okay? When you go get your student ID, it's going to also be on the back of the student ID. So that should help you as well. Okay? Very, very important number. So underneath that, you're going to see some boxes that list your classes. Hugely important. Please, please, please look carefully at that. make sure that the classes that are listed is what you talk to your advisor about. Also make sure we've got classes that are happening on our campus here day and night. We've got classes over at the Universal Building, down at the Willow Building, which is cosmetology and aesthetics now. Classes at McDowell High School, kind of online, all over the place. We've got classes that are going to be starting August the 17th. That's our official first day. If your class is at McDowell High School, it's going to follow the high school schedule, so it's going to start on the 23rd. We also have classes starting on the 30th. We've got 8-week classes. Please look very, very closely at your statement. Look at your class, look at your days and times, and look at your location. If any of those don't jive with or if you have questions or what you thought you were signing up for, again, please at the end, sign on that form when you get out there, and one of the advisors will be back in touch with you. Okay, that's very, very important that you know when and where. And again, if you're not sure, well, it says I'm in building whatever, there's campus maps out there. Always be sure to check your Gmail though. There may be something different with your class that's being delayed or location change. We're going to tell you at the end, Ms. Weiler's going to go over how to get into your McDowell Tech Gmail, checking that Gmail every single day. It's very, very important that you're checking that Gmail every day. That's your communication. McDowell Tech's instructors and staff are going to use that account. They do not have access to your account through another school or through the high school. They do not use those, okay? So make sure that you are checking your McDowell Tech Gmail every single day, especially for any changes. Any questions about your high school schedules, you need to talk to your high school people about that. Okay, we don't work for the school system, not smart enough to get in there and change things. That's the high school. You'll have to speak with them about that. Real important part for parents anyway, if you look at your statement, over on the right-hand side down at the very bottom, you're gonna see where it says fees. So statewide program, tuition free. McDowell Tech, we cover let you borrow textbooks, do the access codes, all of that. Most colleges don't do that. We provide that here. Your fees that are over in the bottom right-hand side, that's what you owe to the college. Now, Merry Christmas. We have some funds available called HER funds that this form you should have gotten probably in your packet.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got one of those in your packet?
It has McDowell Tech logo in big bold like at the top. So it just has a couple lines on it. This is what will cover your fees.
What? Cover my fees? This form. Students, you're going to sign it. Parents, you're going to sign it. You're going to take that up to the business office, and those HER funds are going to cover your fees this semester. Can't promise about second semester. You know, it's a pot of money. We got to see where it rolls. If you do not fill this out and get signatures and take it, the college will assume you just want to pay those fees yourself.
Save your $50.
Okay? So make sure that you do that. You're still going to have to go to the business office. If you have already paid has anybody already paid fees? No? Okay, good. So that up in the business office, they'll give you your receipt. Then like we've always done, then you'll take your receipt, you'll take your statement, your registration statement, down to the print shop. You'll get your handbook. You're going to get a photo ID, but I'm not taking classes at the college. Get your photo ID. You're still going to get your photo ID. This identifies you as a college student. When you go places, you can get discounts because of this. You have access to anything here on our campus. Coming to use the library or different events, spring fling, fall festival, those things. You are a college student, just like an old person like me if I came back, okay? Still get your ID. Also, that's where you're gonna get your parking sticker. If you're gonna be here on campus, go ahead and get your parking sticker. Go ahead and get it. But I don't have my license yet. Wait till you do. Wait till you need it, and then you can go down and you can get your parking sticker when you need it. Okay? Lunch. Those of you who are coming from McDowell High School, we do have a cafe located over in the Commons area that is not run by the college, okay? That's a private individual that rents out that space. You can use cash, you can use a debit or credit card to order food. Huge selection of food. She does breakfast and she does lunch. Usually lunch cuts off 1 o'clock-ish. Understand though that is a private thing going on. We've got McDowell Academy for Innovation, McDowell Early College, both on our campus this year. We've also got a lot of faculty and staff that work here. Sometimes it gets very, very busy and they work their tails off behind that counter, but when you place an order, it may be 10 minutes before you get it. Waiting on lunch is not an excuse for being late to class, okay? Instructors would rather, unless you're in the computer lab, instructors would rather you go ahead, grab your lunch, take it to class, scarf it down in the first 10 minutes or whatever, and not be late for class. So that is definitely an option. McDowell County Schools, or McDowell High School, if you come out here for a class, if you start there your day, you can go in the morning, let the cafeteria ladies know, I'm gonna be leaving at 10:30. Can you have a lunch ready for me? You swing by there on your way out the door, you grab it, and they can charge it to your lunch account, okay? Especially free and reduced lunch students. You cannot use your McDowell County Schools lunch account over in the cafe, okay? There are vending machines with snacks and pop. Yes, I'm from Midwest, pop. Soft drinks, soda, whatever y'all say, RCs. Those are available at the Universal building and also at the Willow building. They do have those. There's not a cafe, there's not a live get your stuff. If you're coming from the high school, and especially, and I'll talk to you about transportation in a second, if you're gonna be riding the bus, they do not swing through Mickey D's drive-through. So you're gonna have to you're welcome to bring a lunch, or when you get here, if you've got enough time, order from the cafe, swing through the cafeteria at the high school and grab it. But those are kind of what your options are. Gauge yourself based on that as far as meals. Transportation, if you go to McDowell High School, McDowell County Schools provides transportation to and from where you need to be going from 8:30 to 2:30. So if you are in cosmetology and your class starts at 8 o'clock, you are responsible for your own transportation. We can't guarantee that you're going to be here by 8 o'clock. And that first class, I think is only like 23 minutes. You can't be 15 minutes late for that class, okay? But if your class starts at even 8:15, I think 8:15 they've said they could cover. If your class starts here, 8:15 to 8:30, it also has to get over by 2:30. The last bus leaves our campus at 2:30, leaves here, goes back to McDowell High School. That's the bus that the MAI, MEC students, everybody goes back to the high school on those two buses. Then they get on the buses that are going to their own communities. So if your class gets over at 4 o'clock, you're going to have to find your own transportation. Certainly welcome to drive yourself, okay? Your own transportation, that's perfectly fine. If you do need transportation through the high school, you have to talk to Mr. Ledford, Keith Ledford at the high school. It's not a half-hour shuttle. He sets the schedule every single semester based on the students that tell them, I need to ride these days and these times. So there may be a bus that only runs on Friday mornings at a certain time just for you. The school system and the college work together and pay a driver and pay the gas and all of that. So please, if you do sign up and you do not need a ride a certain day, you're sick, your class is canceled, you get your license during the semester and start driving yourself, you lose your license, or the person you were riding with loses their license, and all of a sudden you need a ride, talk to Mr. Ledford, okay? Most of the bus drivers will give you their cell number, and you can contact them directly too. That's a McDowell High School thing though, all right? I get lots of calls, but they're not here. That's getting in touch with the high school, getting in touch with Mr. Ledford and your bus driver. But you've got to let them know that, okay? Student agreement. In your packet, you should have gotten 2 copies of a student agreement. One is on white paper, one is on green paper. The white copy, we are going to go through most of it, a lot of it, some of it, I've already touched on. This one needs to be signed before you leave here. Signed and dated before you leave here, and you can leave it out on the table where the other materials are going to be. The green copy is for you to take home, okay? If we do not get this signed before the first day of class, we got to have it before the first day of class, okay? So make sure that we get that. You'll go through it, you want me to?
You want to do the first couple and I'll do
Sure.
the next couple?
Okay, so understand, I know some of you registered at the high school when we had lots of people and there was some confusion. Hopefully, you've seen the brochures, the CCP brochures. Extra copies, again, are going to be out on the tables. You choose a pathway with your advisor based on what you want to be when you grow up. Based on whatever your career goal is, then we choose a pathway that you're going to be in. In that pathway are classes that are set by the state. We work with the state and set those to get you started towards that career goal, okay? Cannot pick one, well, but I want this class they'll cover my high school stuff, but I want this one because my friend's in there and all over the place. It's not how the program works. The program is set up by the state to get you going towards a career, towards a job when you graduate, and can keep on trucking with other classes if you need it, or into the job market or whatever. So understand, you have a pathway. That code for your pathway is also at the top of your registration statement. You're gonna see the code. I don't think it says welding or whatever it is. You can find the corresponding code in your brochure of what that covers, or ask your advisor. We don't have a degree in, like the girl I work with, architecture. We looked at what the 4-year school is going to require, meeting with her several times, decided this is what University of Virginia is going to require, and then we looked at where to best match up with that career goal. Okay, so understand, you're put in a pathway. If your goals change, your career goals change, then that's a conversation that you have with your advisor, with your high school counselor, and we'll get you going in, we'll adjust things however we need to meet your career goals, okay? Understand, also, these are college classes. Even if they're located at McDowell High School, or they are online, or well, my high school teacher is teaching this class at the high school for me. These are actual college courses. You are building a college transcript, okay? At the end of the semester though, we do a report, send it over to the high school. All the college classes that you take also they have to go on your high school transcript. Your grades also go on your high school transcript, okay? So you take a class, you ace it, it's wonderful, it's an English class, that A that you make for us, that's gonna go on your high school transcript as well. So understand, you're covering there are consequences, there's great things, and then there's also, and it's up to you as students to choose what you're gonna put into it and what those consequences are going to be, okay? Let me also make this point. I get this every semester, and I have a lot of tears. North Carolina Athletic Association says for you to be eligible for sports, you have to be passing the majority of your classes. So McDowell High School, you've got 4. Say you've got 2 high school and 2 college classes. Okay, 4 classes. Majority, how many is majority? 3, not 2, that's only half. At least 3 of your classes you have to be passing, not 2. Doesn't matter what they are, doesn't matter if they're high school, college, whatever. If you get dropped from a college class, if you don't pass your high school classes, you are ineligible for sports. So if you're on the football team, when this happens, you are not on the football team anymore. If they allow you to even come to practice, they forfeit all their games. Okay? That important. The other thing is, you can lose your driver's license. I had this happen this past year. A student, 2 of her 5 classes, 2 college and 1 high school didn't pass. They took her driver's license. You lose your driver's license, have to wait till you get your next report card that shows you are passing for that term, you passed the majority of your classes. Then you have to set up an appointment over at the DMV. I don't know if y'all been to the DMV during COVID. You have to set up an appointment with your parents, take all your paperwork over there. They have to process it all for you to get your driver's license back. That can be devastating when you're a junior or senior in high school. Okay? So understand, it's very, very, very important. Attendance for your classes. You know, the very, very first day of class, you are given a syllabus. You're provided a syllabus for that class. That syllabus is your contract between you and the instructor. You know exactly what the instructor's gonna do. You know exactly what your responsibilities are. Very first day you're provided that. Some of them will give you a hard copy of it. Open LMS, which we're gonna talk about in a minute. It's available the whole semester. You have access to that. That's going to tell you what your grading scale is. Hugely important to know that very, very first day. Official college grading scale, still 7-point.
It varies by which class you are taking, so make sure you are looking at that syllabus because it could be on a 7-point scale, it could be on a 10-point scale. So you'll need to make sure that you are reading that syllabus to find that out. And it will also show how you are going to be graded in that class. It might be able to say this percentage for tests, this percentage for attendance, this percentage for projects, whatever it might be. So always keep that syllabus on hand because it also has your instructor's contact information on it as well.
Thank you. And then, again, all semester that's available. Okay, you can pull it up in your open LMS. So you've got your syllabus. Your syllabus also tells you what that course's attendance policy is. The official attendance policy for the college is if you miss 2 consecutive weeks of class, you can be dropped from the course. If you miss 20%, so if you go to class, if you have it 4 days a week, that's going to be a different thing than if you only have 1 day a week. For online classes, you must log in at least twice a week and submit an assignment at least twice a week. If you go 2 weeks or it hits that 20%, then you can be dropped from the class. If you are dropped from a college class, that is an F. That F is also going to go on your high school transcript. You can't just decide, I really don't like this class, or I've decided this isn't what I want to be or do long term, so I'm just going to quit going. That will be an F. If you talk to your advisor, talk to your instructors, you can't just not show up. You cannot drop yourself from a class. You have to have that conversation with your guidance counselor, your high school counselor first. It may be that's covering your last math at the high school. It may be that it's too late, that you are going to get an F and can't drop it without penalty. Again, if because of, and that's what typically happens, I've got students that are making great grades in their class, but they quit logging in or just quit showing up. That could be your 2 Fs, okay? Please be aware of that. because that's some really bad consequences needlessly. All right? Keep that syllabus handy. Know if it is a 7-point scale or a 10-point scale, because when that is converted over to the high school, you think, oh, well, I made an 82 in that class. An 82 at the high school is B. In a 7-point class, it is not. College, we do letter grades. You've got a C in that class. When they put them in your high school transcript at McDowell High, a C is between a 70 and a 79. They're going to put a 75 on your high school transcript. Okay? That's some of the things I've just seen. So make sure, and again, you know that the very, very first day of class, what those circumstances are. I have been, if you're trying to follow this and me talking, I have been everywhere. But I want to make sure that you understand some of these things, the important things. Our classes are, just kind of heads up, our classes are college classes. The curriculum is college curriculum. There may be some things in there that are sensitive or a little sketchy to you. That's college, okay? Those are college things. I'm not saying you're going to, but when you get in an art class or sociology discussion, there may be some things that's what your college curriculum is. I talked to you about fees. Again, I can't emphasize enough. Communication. You've got the very first day, you've got how your instructor, you've got their contact information, you've got our contact information, communication, attendance for classes. Again, set number. We don't do excused and unexcused. So make sure those are not vacation days. Those are in case of days. In case you get sick, in case something happens. That's what those are set for. I've had students kind of use one here and there and here and there, and then all of a sudden they get the flu or COVID or whatever is happening around. Okay? Your instructors, communicate with them, find out, hey, here's what's going on. I can't attend class because of this is what's happening. What do I need to do for my next class? Okay? Real important. Communicating. It's though if you've had a great track record in that class, things happen. And they'll work with you the best they can with that. Is there anything else, is that Mrs. Smith?
It is.
Mrs. Smith, one of our wonderful math instructors, is there anything else you would like to share as an instructor about the syllabus or about the grading scale or attendance in a class from an instructor standpoint?
I don't know of anything other than hold on to that syllabus, because that is your contract with your instructor. So hold on to it. You never know when you may want to go back and refer to it. So it's nice to have it in front of your notebook where you can find it. Biggest thing, communication.
Thank you. Do you want me to just
Yes.
wing early alerts? I was going to start on early alerts.
Okay. So at the 4-week, 8-week, and 12-week point in our semester, McDowell Tech instructors will send out a grade alert. So what those are called is early alerts. And so if you are making an A or a B, you'll get like a pat on the back email saying, you're doing great, keep going, in the track you're going. If you're making a C, you'll get one that says, hey, you may, kind of maybe you should step up your game a little bit. Like you're still in the passing point, but you're kind of riding a thin line here. So then we will also send those out for D's and F's. That's letting you know, hey, we need to see you some more effort, some more improvement out of your grades. So those early alerts get communicated to me and Ms. Ruiz. So we also communicate those to your high school counselors. So we will be in touch with you. So please check your email for those. That can really kind of make or break your semester as far as like, if you get an early alert, like at the 4-week point, you still have plenty of time to like get that up. So that's kind of how we handle as far as like grade alerts. Those are a couple of points throughout the semester. Also, if you begin doing poorly in a class, me and Mr. Ruiz will typically get an email from that instructor that says, this student is missing a lot, they're, in danger of being dropped due to attendance or due to their grades. And so at that point, me and Mr. Rez will reach out and say, hey, something's got to give.
Before it gets to that point, you will have heard from your instructor. Again, in your open LMS, you can check all your grades. You can see what's been graded and where you stand in that. You're also going to have heard from your instructor by then about, hey, I didn't get this assignment, or hey, you did really poorly on this. The early alerts you mentioned, especially if they are D's and F's, will share with you resources that we have about the ARC lab, about the tutoring lab, which is free, which is available the whole semester. It's in the syllabus. The information for that is in your syllabus and the open LMS. It talks about some different online services that are available as well to help you with paper writing and those types of things. Checking your email and communicating with your instructor. Most of you already know if you're not doing such a hot job or if you're doing pretty fabulous. If you think you're doing fabulous and you get an early alert and not doing so hot, contact your instructor. I cannot access your open LMS. The only time I know how you're doing in a class is when those reports come out. Okay? Your communication is directly with that instructor. If you do not get a sufficient answer, if you feel like there's still points that need to be made, then you can contact Dr. Watts, who was here earlier. That's the Dean of Student Success. She would be your next course of action. Parents, your direct line is with the high school counselors. Okay? Parents are talking to counselors. Students, you're talking to instructors first. And that's going to be the first thing she asks is, have you talked to your instructor? And if you have and you've tried to resolve whatever issues, then Dr. Watts is your next line. Okay?
All right. So also, anybody with a documented disability, so like a 504, if you've had one of those, with the school system. So we do not, what students will need to do is get in contact with the high school and get that and communicate that to Gwen Reeves. So she is our disabilities coordinator here at McDowell Tech. So our accommodations will work differently than with the high school. So she will make our own judgment for college accommodations based on that. So also something to note, please. So in your blue folders, you have got a yellow sheet that's our little remind form. So please sign up for that. So me and Mr. Rez send out alerts. Basically, it's like a text messaging service. And so what that does, especially during the winter, so our McDowell Tech classes do not run on the same schedule as McDowell County schools. So please sign up for those, because a lot of times, if the high school is on a 2-hour delay that day, we will probably most likely not be on the same schedule here at the Tech. So if you have courses that are held out here, you will still be expected to be at those, or communicate with your instructor if the weather is bad or for some reason you can't make it. So please be aware that our schedule does not run on the McDowell County School schedule. So we always try and communicate that with students, especially through that remind. So you'll get text messages straight to your phone with that. So that's a great way to stay in the know. We'll also usually send out emails we'll send out texts about hey, we need to start meeting with students for spring registration. So please check those and kind of keep an eye out for those. Let's see.
Just to give you an example, the classes, McDowell High School delay policy, our weather policy and our delay policy changed a couple years ago. McDowell County Schools, 2-hour delay, you start at 10 o'clock, you still go to all of your classes, but shorter times. The way our policy works is if your class is still meeting at 2 o'clock, we start at 8 o'clock, 2-hour delay would be 10 o'clock, and your class goes until 10:30, you are expected to come out to your class. Now, if you have an 8 o'clock class that gets over at 9:45, that's it. The delay is after that, okay? Evening students, you guys know sometimes it's pouring the snow in the morning and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon it's 70 degrees. If you have an evening class, You may still have an evening class. Nursing and cosmetology, especially, those two programs have to log your minute by minute by minute by minute. So even if your class, well, we've only got 15 minutes, you may still have to come out, or they may have sent you an email. Checking your Gmail. Instructors, again, that's what they're contacting you. A couple years ago, one of our instructors had to come from 3 counties away. We were running on just a 1 hour delay. He could not make it. And he called me and said, will you please go upstairs? Because I have a feeling I got a bunch of students who didn't check their Gmail. And sure enough, there was a whole class of students that were sitting and waiting on him. He had already told them, I can't make it, don't come, here's your assignment for the day. So make sure that you're aware of exactly what's happening with your individual class. Okay, communicating that with your instructors. Again, McDowell County Schools, they may be out that day, but if your class is here on campus, your class is still here on campus and you're still meeting. Buses do not run on teacher work days. They do not run when the high school is out. So you may still have class here, but your transportation is not running that day. You are responsible for your own transportation. Communicate with, if there's an issue, communicate with your instructor. Okay? I know there's a couple days in October we get out for fall break. High school is still in. If your classes are at McDowell High School, you are running on the high school schedule. If they are out for a day, you're following what they are doing. Okay? Checking your Gmail to make sure what your instructors are sharing with you.
And I believe Miss Duncan has something that she would like to add.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, as far as homeschool, private school, I see a few cases in here. The communication stuff will be a little different than the Gal High School, so we talked about Remind and things of that sort in our individual meetings. I just wanted to reiterate the communication with you just there with my students.
Yes, thank you. Okay, also, so to maintain eligibility for our CCP program, so students must have 2 things. So you must be continuing to progress towards high school graduation. So that's like a big kicker, like Mr. Ruiz was saying earlier. So we need to see like you're making progress towards those, like your high school grades are good. You a lot of times like you will have to qualify, for our courses through your high school GPA or through a letter of recommendation from a counselor or a teacher at the high school. So also we need to see that you maintain at least a 2.0 GPA in the college courses. So if you fail, if you do really well in one college course and not so well, so we do have to keep an eye on that also. So please be mindful of that. Like, if you have a not so great semester, it may make you ineligible for another semester. So please keep that in mind. Like, when you're doing your classes, just think about like, this is a great opportunity and I really need to try and, stay eligible and take advantage of it as much as I can. Also, so for technical difficulties, Miss Weiler, so Miss Joan Weiler, you guys will meet her in just a few minutes. So she's going to go over and walk you guys through how to get into your McDowell Tech Gmail and your Open LMS at some point. So me and Mr. Ruiz, we are not tech savvy.
Techie, illiterate.
We are not. And so she is your go-to person. So we have like a distance learning page on our website. So all of Miss Weiler's information is found on there. Also, we have like instructions, like a big PDF of how do I log into this, or like what happens if I forgot my password, that sort of stuff. So be sure to check there, but also please reach out to her directly, because me and Mr. Ruiz, like, we do not know, as far as that sort of stuff, that we can't see anything, we can't reset passwords, all of that stuff will be a McDowell Tech, so with Miss Weiler thing, okay?
Please remember, we cannot, and you cannot, drop a class, add a class, change a class without the permission of your high school principal or counselor. You can't go to student services and go ahead and add another class because your instructor said, well, typically they get to, students do these 2. Because you are high school students, under the program, there's lots of checks and balances. Your high school instructor, if I want to sign you up, I'll sign you up all day. I'll sign you up for everything. If your counselors know a lot of things about you, your performance at the high school, in your high school classes, Ms. Crowder touched on progressing towards graduation. If you are not showing up for your high school classes, if you are not performing well in your high school classes, we register, you may not be able to register the following semester, or we may have to do some shifting of things. Okay? Communication with your counselor. If you will also, you got, and the things you were handed when you came in, a student contact information sheet. If you will make sure and fill that out and leave that on the table outside as well. We have other documents. If you forgot your folder, or some of the things in your folder, you wanted another remind sheet. There's campus maps that we'll have out there. Stuff.
The assistance sheet. So it's like a blue sheet in your folder. So like it has literally like a list of, I'm having trouble with this. It tells you who to contact both here and at the high school. Like with homeschool students, it also has Ms. Duncan's number. So that's a really good resource for students like, hey, I don't know what to do with this. Like, that's your easiest way to figure out like who your point of contact is. Like, who do I need to get in touch with about that?
If you email one of us about I can't get into my open LMS or my assignment won't submit, it may sit in our inbox for a couple days. And then all we're gonna do is forward it on to either Ms. Weiler or your instructor anyway. So make sure you're in touch with your instructor and with Ms. Weiler. Those are your resources. Lots of stuff on there though, so make sure you look at that. We also have some swag when you leave. So please make sure when you leave after Ms. Weiler gets done speaking with you about the Gmail and touching on the open LMS that you stop by the table back out here. Dr. Watts.
Can you please review what papers they need to sign and fill out before they leave?
We absolutely can. Okay, so the forms that we need to collect from you out at these tables before you leave. Yes, thank you.
This one.
So you will have this. This goes to the business office.
Can
So,
you set, way back here, we can't see which page that is.
okay, this has the big McDowell Tech logo at the top.
Is
This
that
is
the
the,
HER fund?
yes, this is the one that covers all of your fees. So this is what, like, save your $50, take this up to the business office, go do something fun with your money. So this is one you need to turn in at the business office. They will
Gift
give
for
you,
your advisor.
yes, there you go.
They will turn those in back here.
Oh, at the,
So they do not need to take to the business office, we will actually collect those.
okay, we will collect those. So we'll collect those at the table outside. Also, so this student agreement that we just went over, there is a place to sign for both the student and I believe the parent or guardian. So please, like, if you have a doctor's signature, if we can't read it, please write your name, like a printed name out beside of that so we know who to contact. Also, the student information sheet. So that way, if me or Ms. Ruiz or Ms. Duncan or somebody tries to get in touch with you, we can actually get in touch with you. We need, sometimes like, especially in power schools, they may have your phone number from like 10 years ago. So please fill this out with the most current up-to-date information we have. So those are the three that we will need, like to pick up that need to be signed and filled out. The green form, that is for you to take home. So that just lets you know on your end, I'm responsible for these things. So you have a copy of it, we have a copy of it. So that just lets you guys know if you have a question about something, these are our policies, this is what I've signed up for, and you kind of know, like, you have certain responsibilities as a student and we have certain responsibilities as your advisors. So it kind of sets things as far as explains what your responsibilities are and what ours are.
You also had in your folder a green CCP memo. That's your to-do list. That's where we talked about you're going to go to the business office, pay your fees, then go down to the print shop, the bookstore, getting in your open LMS. This was in your folder when you registered. There are additional copies. We'll have them out on the table as well. That's your to-do list. Cosmetology students, the first day, you're going to start logging your time as soon as you walk in that building the first day. Make sure you have your required uniform. That's black top, black pants, and your black scrubs, black shoes with minimal markings. I saw my girl earlier that had asked me that question last week. They said black shoes with minimal markings. Do you want to talk to about nursing?
Yes,
Real
I'll
quick?
borrow that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my nurse aid students, please raise your hand if you are enrolled in nurse aid for fall. Okay, I know there's more than just 2 of them, but that's fine. So you must attend. So for nurse aid, it works a little bit different. So like as Mr. Rose talked about earlier, it's like an hour for hour basis. And so you have a mandatory nurse aid orientation. So I believe that's next Wednesday, August 11th at 4 p.m. So that is in the Dogwood building here on our campus. And so that is like our nursing building. So it's next Wednesday at 4 p.m. So I will send out an email to all of the nurse aid students, but just wanted to give you guys a heads up, like that's when it is. So please make plans, like if you need to ask off of work or if you need, if you need to arrange something, please do that so that you can plan to be there. You must have all of your fees paid. So like if you sign your form, be sure to get like a paid registration statement. So like that will come from our business office. So you will need that. You'll need to go to the print shop, have your ID badge made. Also, you will need to go to the bookstore and pick up your textbook, and you will have like a big packet specifically for nurse aid students, and they will cover all of that with you at the nurse aid orientation. So that's specific just to nurse aid students because that class is very, very intensive, and it kind of differs from other college classes. So also please just bring like stuff to take notes. So like a pen, highlighter, and also there will be, there's a nurse aid brochure that has like, anything you need. So I will also be sending out an email with that in it. So please be on the lookout for that, okay?
If you have additional questions, please reach out to your advisor. Okay?
Put a
Real
print.
quickly, I'm doing what I learned from the distance learning, and just check your email for McDowell Text, completely different from your email for the high school. You can put the app on your phone or download the information, but it's your first initial, middle initial, last name, last 2 digits of McDowell Text student ID number that was at the top of that paper. It's the same thing for the open LMS. All the instructions, I'll link the pamphlet here. If you cannot get in, I'm in building 4, you can come over to my office, you can call me. Other than that, you should be able to get into your email, okay? Open LMS, your classes will not be available until the first day of the class at 8 a.m. So if you would please refrain from calling until after 8 a.m. and you cancel your classes, then please call me immediately and then we'll get you set up. But other than that, we should be good, okay? I'll leave these out front.
Okay.
So if you have any questions, just give me a call or, and it's on the website, Distance Learning. Nice meeting you. Have a great semester. Thank you.
Okay. Do y'all get that? No?
I
Okay.
didn't get the email.
Okay. First, so it's a Gmail. First name, first initial, then middle initial, last name, and then the last 2 digits of your McDowell Tech Gmail address at go.mcdowelltech.edu.
Your McDowell Tech student ID number.
Your McDowell Tech student ID number.
Yes.
Yes. So also in your folders, like in the packets we gave you, you should have a distance learning brochure, and it also has this information on there. So it tells you like exactly how to get logged in. Like Ms. Weiler said, if you have issues or if for some reason like that wasn't in your packet or you've lost it between now and then, we will also have copies of that outside. So feel free to stop and pick one up, but it should have like a step-by-step kind of walk you through how to get logged into that.
Did you hear her say that online classes will not be loaded until the first day. Till the first day when your class starts after 8 o'clock is when you pull up an LMS, that you should see your classes listed. If you don't at that point, then contact Ms. Weiler.
And there are different start dates,
Yes, we talked about
okay?
that on the registration.
Because August 30th, those classes do not show up until August 30th on an LMS. Okay. Quick thing, we do have someone in the print shop who can do ID badges. If you have your white schedule from McDowell Tech that says your name and your student ID with your courses listed, you take that white sheet and you can go down the hall. When you exit out of here, take a left, you'll go up some steps, and then you'll go and take a left, go to the print shop and get your student ID made. He will be there until 11:30 this morning, okay?
Okay, so again, that fee sheet, if you have that fee sheet, your fees have to be paid first, and you have to have your receipt, is what I was told. Then go down to the print shop to get your ID.
If they have that sheet filled out, he just told me I can
Okay,
plug on
okay.
that and send it straight down to there. They're under crunch time today.
Okay,
Gotcha.
Yeah, so if you'll hand us, if you'll turn in those forms, and as long as we have that white per fund, sheet signed by you, and you've got your white registration sheet, turn the her form into us, take that white sheet down and get your student ID, you'll be all set to go. If anybody would like a tour, we'll be hanging out here at these tables, so we'd like to do a tour as well.
Okay, great. Sorry, never mind. Yeah.
I guess so too. She is